Hi guys, this is a playthrough of Confederate Rebellion. It is a game by David Kershaw. I started playing it the other day and we're going to go ahead and just try to play through it here. You play as the North, you're trying to get through the South. Four victory conditions, you have to accomplish all of them to win the game. As a Northern player, you have to blockade the Southern. You have to take out the ports, make sure that they don't receive any build points from the ports. You have to control the Mississippi, and then you have to conquer both Atlanta and Richmond. So that is what we're going to do. I'm not going to go through the rules per se as we go through it. I'm going to play it, and then we'll see what happens. So the first thing that the North gets to do, the North gets 5 build points. 5 build points. Everything that you build costs 1 point. So the first thing I want to build is I want to build another transport that blocks another part of the fleet to block the Confederate supplies from coming in. So I have 4 build points left. Second thing I want to do is I want to buy a general. At most I can have 4 generals. Right now on the board there are 2 generals for the Union, or just 1. Let's see, did I miss one? There's 1 general and nope, there's 2 generals. I can have at max 4, so I want to get another general. There's a choice of 5, but you don't get to choose. You shake them up and then take one of them. Why? I will show you why in a second. I want to buy a Union general, so we shake it up and we take this. We look at it and I get Burnside. He's a bum. 1, whatever. So I have a ocean vessel and I have a general. General I'm going to put in Cairo. He's always going to go in Cairo. That's not any different. You're supposed to choose where you put them before you choose the general. I was always put them in Cairo. I have 3 build points left. So I want to buy another riverboat. Now I have 2 build points left, and the last 2 build points I will use to go ahead and buy 2 more soldiers. Now I go ahead and place all those things. I'm going to place them all in Cairo. I'm going to try to come down through Cairo and control the Mississippi. That is my goal. And that is what I'm going to attempt to do. So now, second part of the sequence of play is my movement play. Everything is on the map here. I'll try to put up a picture for you. You have a Union build phase and the Union movement phase. I can move anything I want, but to initiate combat, I have to move with a general. So we're going to first move all these Union ships to the blockade box. That gives me 4 up in the blockade box. The attempt here is to stop the rebels from getting build points. Other movement, I'm going to move this gunship down here to Cairo. I want to move all the gunships that I have into Memphis. I'm going to battle there. Move 1 up here. And I'll move Indiana also. Let's see. I think I'll leave Indiana where it's at for the time being. I want to have a battle. My battle here, I don't think I need a general to do it. And then I'm going to go ahead and also attempt to have a move action right behind it. Move action is moving this army from Cairo, trying to move it down and move into Memphis. But we have to clean out the gunship first. To do it, I can move two spaces normally, but if you are attacking, you can only move 1. Cairo to the Memphis spot would be 1. Any other movement I want to have? Let's go ahead and move from St. Louis down into Missouri also. That's 3 units, and I'll just replace it with 3. Anything else I want to move? Yep, I'm going to move the Army of McClellan out into Maryland. Leave DC open. Anything else? I don't think so. Union combat. So the first thing we're going to do is line up our combat over here. We have 3 Union gunships taking on the 1 Union gunship from Memphis. How does combat work? Good thing you asked. I appreciate you asking. Everything in combat rolls off of a modifier. So in this case, I have 3 Unions. Gunships against 1 rebel gunship, so my odds are 3 to 1. I have superiority, so it's a +3 to whatever I roll. I get a +3 modifier. So we roll it, I roll a 3, add 3 to it, it's 6. What happens with 6? Defender loses 1 per 3 attackers. Defender retreats. So, in this case, the rebels would lose their gunship. Union gunships would take over Memphis. That would then allow Burnside to move his army into Memphis. And now controlled another part of the Mississippi. That is the only combat that I'm doing. I don't think I'm doing anything else. Yep, there's nothing else that I do. So that is all the combat that I'm going to do. What is the next thing? It's the rebel build phase. Rebels start with 4 build points. 4 build points. So first thing we do is to check if we can get rid of any of those build points. The first thing, is the Mississippi Union controlled? Nope, it's not. So I can't get rid of it there. Does the South control Atlanta or Richmond? They do, so I can't get rid of a build point there. Now here's one I can do. If they roll a d6 greater than the number of fleets in the blockade box. Right now I have 4 fleets in the blockade box. We'll roll a dice. If they roll a 5 or 6, they get their build point. If not, I get to drop their build points down to 3. And of course they roll a 5. And the last thing is, can they roll a die greater than the amount of ports that they control? I don't control any. So they get the 4 full build points. What do they do with their build points? Well, the first thing they do is roll a dice. Roll a dice. And this is contained on the map right here. You roll a dice, 1 through 3. It says you put an army on a general. The Confederates grab an army, they gain an army, and there's an order you put them in. You put them in Lee first, then Smith, and then Bragg. Lee gets another army. And this is one of the small irritations I have with the game. They just did not include enough rebel armies. This is a 1, but this is a militia. This is really supposed to be part of the optional roles. They don't include enough enough armies. But Lee gets an army. That gives Lee his 5th army. Lee has now 5 armies in Manassas. That is the first build point that they used. Now the second one, let's find the 3. There we go. What's the second build point going to do? It is number 4. What does number 4 do? Army gets in a random region. So now we go down to the random region chart. I roll a dice. It's 5. Cross-reference it with a 6. Random army goes into Atlanta. Random army goes into Atlanta. 2 build points left. Roll a dice. Roll a dice of 5. What does that mean? Rebel dice means army per random region. Army region 4, and cross-reference it with 5. Army goes into Alabama. Last build point. What is this Confederates going to do here? 3. 1 army on a general. That would go to Smith. Smith gets an army. Finally, I get to get 2 back. There we go. Now, we move on to the next phase. It's rebel movement phase. Rebel movement phase, and for this one, it is not on the board. It is inside the book. The rebel movement phase. Where 3 rebel generals may move and conduct combat in this phase, starting with General Lee, then General Bragg, and then General Kirby Smith. Roll a single d6 and add the general's modifier. I was wrong. Smith doesn't get the army, Bragg does. So we'll fix that and just trade between the 2. So Bragg now has 3, Smith has 2. Back to the move phase, back to the move phase. So the first thing we do is roll for Lee. Lee rolls a 5. He gets a modifier of 3 to make it an 8. On a modified roll of 6 or greater, the general will move 1 region toward the nearest non-rebel controlled region, connected by a line of movement, basically, unless the armies in that region would outnumber his own force greater than 3 to 1. He has 2 choices here. He can move to Fort Monroe, or he can move to Maryland. And the rules just say, if you're not sure what to do, if it's a equal thing, roll a dice and choose. So 1 to 3, 4, 5, 6. He moves, and he is going to attack McClellan in Maryland. Interesting, that did not happen last time we played. He would have rather chosen to take Monroe. But he's going to take on McClellan. So what's going to happen here? Compare the force. What do we have? Lee has 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and he is attacking a force of 9. So he has a deficit here, but it is not a 1 to 2 inferiority, it is a 1 to 1 inferiority. Back up here to this table. 1 to 1 inferiority, so he has a -1 to his die roll. Then you factor in the generals. McClellan adds another 1. So now he's -2 die roll, leaves a 3 though. So you add 2 minus 2 to +3. What did you get? A +1. So Lee rolls a die and he adds 1 to that roll. Well, that is a terrible roll. A 1 gives him a 2. Attacker loses 1/3 and retreats. 1/3 of his force. Attacker loses 1/3 of his force. He had 5. 1/3 would be 2. You have to roll everything up. And so, I think, right? 5 divided by 3 is 1 point plus some change. And so he would lose 2. That is a shocking loss for Lee in Maryland. He retreats back to Manassas. McClellan doesn't lose anything. McClellan won't win in a battle? Who would have thought that? Second general possibility of moving is Bragg. Bragg rolls. Bragg rolls a 2. And on a modified roll of 4 or less, Bragg is a 1 modifier, so that would give him a modified 3. The general takes no action. We move over to K. Smith. K. Smith a 3. Modify him up to a 5. The general will take no action if there's a Union force greater than his own in an adjacent connected line of control. Adjacent right here, it is neutral 3, and they are greater than his. K. Smith only has a 2. He would have had to attack a 3. He's not going to do anything, so he stays put. K. Smith can never cross the Mississippi. Bragg can also never cross the Mississippi. So Smith is going to stay over here. Bragg is going to stay in the middle, and Lee's going to stay on the right. And that is the end. That is the end of the first round of play.